For this project, we are going to be creating alien planets with oil pastels. Let's start by talking about our galaxy, our sun, which of course is a star, and all the planets around it are part of a galaxy known as the Milky Way. Our galaxy is a large group of stars, gas, and dust bound together by gravity. The technology required to travel between galaxies is far beyond humanity's present capabilities, but it sure is fun using our imagination to think about what we could find one day many years from now. As artists, let's take an imaginary trip to create some planets of our own. When creating landscapes, we need to think about color compositions and atmospheric color changes. For example, look at these creative designs for planets that have not been discovered yet, but have been imagined. Thinking about what type of terrain and atmospheres could be present on a planet will help us know what type of organisms can live there and help us plan for vegetation, creatures, land formations, and overall color compositions of the landscape we choose. All right, step 1. Let's figure out the color and atmosphere of our planets. Let's take a planning page and see what we can come up with for how the planet will look and how it moves in the orbit in its own galaxy. You can choose to do this with oil pastel or pencil crayons, whatever you prefer. Now for step 2, planning for depth. We need to add a foreground where objects and the landscape are closer up and are on the bottom of the page. This is where most of the texture and details are. Colors in this area will also feel warmer and more vivid than the rest of the piece in this spot. Oh, and also objects will be the largest here. The middle ground, which is usually in the middle of the page, still shows some detail, although not as much as up close in the foreground. Objects here will start to appear smaller and they will get further and further away. Now the background. This is usually on the highest part of the page and will show things far in the distance. Colors and details here will be muted and less vibrant, and objects should be smaller, unless of course there's a planet in the distance, then of course it will be bigger. Colors will also feel cooler than the rest of the landscape. Taking a look at this landscape, you can clearly see the foreground, middle ground, and background. There's also things showing up in the far, far background, like this planet and the moon, that are even further away. Let's take a look at a few oil pastel landscapes that show all three foreground, middle ground, and backgrounds. All right, step number 3. Planets often have other planets, suns, and moons in their heavens. They can appear as different sizes and even in different colors. Also notice in this planet, it has creative buildings, which are larger closer up but get smaller further and further away. And look how the buildings get softer and muted the further away they are too. Your terrain and clouds can be mix matched and do whatever you dream them up to do. Planets and sky can be subtle or show unique patterns within their surfaces. Here are a few examples of just how different a sky can look within your own work. Okay, step number 4, creating alien creatures and other elements for your planet. Think about what life forms can coexist on your planet. How would they breathe? Where would their legs be? Do they have eyes and mouths? You can find inspiration in creatures you may have seen before, or come up with your own characters all on your own, or even combining things that you know. They can be fun or scary. The choice is all yours. You'll want to think of unique and odd vegetation plant life too. Color and texture will play a big part here. Okay, to review. First, plan your color scheme, terrain, and atmosphere. Make sure to place a foreground, middle ground, and background. Add suns, moons, planets in your sky and heavens. Make sure to add creative elements such as aliens, creatures, vegetation, or plants, or you can even add spaceships, shipwrecks, and unique buildings into your work. Let's take a look at some more student examples. And let's not forget your oil pastel application, blending for unique colors, layering, and making sure to show no background paper. Color composition can have odd and unique color choices, and of course, overall neatness. Now it's your turn to create. Let your imagination get ready for takeoff.